do I have to explain this, yogurt brain?
Want a taste?
No, I don't! This doesn't get you upset, then what the hell does, huh?
Welcome back to my Slayer's Retrospective. It's the second part of a multi-part series, so if you haven't watched the first one, it's always there. But if you're too headstrong about it, here's a refresher for everyone. Here. A sorceress named Lena Inverse, a gold-loving twinner, stopping a group of bandits from stealing their gold. As she gets herself into trouble, a blonde man goes and helps her, named Gowry Gabby. Loving her because she was a helpless child, Gowry decides to become her bodyguard just for the hell of it because he has nothing better than. And along their adventure, with hijinks occurring with their troubles, they beat a chimera, trying to fix himself to return as a human, and a do-gooder child with the heart of justice. They go and face factions upon factions that are trying to reach upon ultimate power and reach a powerful demon, with a group outlasting them and a copy of a priest. They go run the gambit of saving the town and known world from impending doom. With adventure around the corner, it's going to be interesting of how their adventure awaits. But as successful as the first part was, it was particularly enjoyable to see this become a full-blown series. I mean, light novel upon light novels of content to pull from. Of course, there's going to be something there to put these characters into. What will Slayer's next do upon this go-around? Is it going to expand itself, being more gritty and setting the world in more realities compared to the first part, or will it give us the wacky but yet exciting adventures that we were excited for in the first part? Let's just see where our adventure awaits. With the festival going on, Lena and Gowry hears of a famous book of the Zona's kingdom as Zona's evil book. As the festivities and celebrations continue, they actually find out that Emilia is visiting the kingdom as a ambassador of the Seirun kingdom. As things don't look really into plan, as a green-haired lady named Martina is having a conversation about the attention of why Emilia is here. And well, it's to be hostile towards Seirun. And this lady here is Martina. Martina is the princess of this kingdom. As I once said, that she's using Emilia as a bargaining chip. And wow, already starting with this. Nonetheless, Lena finds out why she's here and figures out that she can help her out by looking for that book of Zona. Book is read of Shabernicto in the past and being entrusted in the kingdom. Anyways, this leads into Martina exposing the plan, and the kingdom more or less wants the world. Yeah, we're going that quick. This girl wants monsters to take over. And well, with Zogoddess being a hired gun, it looks like these two clashing personalities, like an MMO, I get to kick how dumb this was. Yeah, it's more or less not as only the character of the first episode, but when I say Zell feels like the kid that wanted to be the cold character, and he's with chaotic people with the rest of the party. Yeah, Zell's gonna be the real straight man in all of this. As Emilia is captured with the perfect timing as Lena shows up with Gowry to rescue her. Well, as they monologue about the book, Lena has the and pretty much the whole plot elements with Zell wanting to use the book to regain his human form is trash. And in 15 minutes of watching the first episode of this writing I'm doing is redundant to leave. Martina escapes and got the golem and the book to talk about that we were talking about, and well, just tons of pounds of worth of paper. Anyways, as we figure, there's only 2 arcs to go by, and looking to go for the cure for Zell and the journey around the way of expanding upon the world. Because with the kingdom being destroyed, Martina has a new vendetta, and that vendetta is Lena Inverse. I know this is already super early on, but I'm guessing that if you've watched the Pokemon anime, I'm sure that you know who's actually voicing Martina.
Anyway, about the messenger from Seirun.
Rachel Lillis would probably be remembered more as Misty in Team Rocket's Jessie, but I just wanted to give a quick spoiler about that, because we're going to see more and more. And we also meet this guy. This is Zelos. He actually becomes a big contributing part to the party, but not the ways as you think, more as a plot-driven character to the whole story. Okay, with all that, party goes and continues on what Zell actually wanted to do in the first part, in which is find the Claire Bible. And well, we actually get to meet the guy that I was just talking about with the manuscript inside. And so, there's an alliance along them with the guidance of getting both of what they desire upon their adventure. And well, after finding the location of the manuscript, they basically have no use for it. Why? Because it's not part
In
of the
any
plan.
of those pages. Now that is a secret.
Bullshit!
For anything further. It's not even going to be helping Zell, so crap. Basically, it looks like that we're not going to be going to know what is going on until they know with Zell. And well, we've gone to a new town, political shenanigans. In the first arc, villain is a former guild directed by Huckleform, a man that has let power to get into his head for immortality, and was removed from power from getting people game ended from the experiment. Yes, I had to use game ending. With them simply finding where the friend with slimming, they enter in and seeing getting stoned. No, not like that, but more like Medusa. Anyways, he plans to take their life and their life force to see their potential and reach his desire. And well, we learn about the pledge that Lena says that she can stop, and with the Van Rail, she freezes him. Basically, the ending of the pledge is damn. Alright, I think I gotta update the crime list. So we actually get a tragic story out of the reasoning why he would do this, but I at least definitely say that this arc does show us in a way the expanded growth upon the cat. I can say this, if you didn't like how Amelia was a whiner, well, she actually becomes somewhat more capable, and actually a quality member of the party. And this is just to be real that Amelia really doesn't get this big character development is because of the fact that you have Martina and Zella. And that makes things to be that she more plays her role as a comedy character more than a progression build character. And to be honest with you, I'm perfectly fine with this, even though that, yeah, I thought that a lot of things could have gone in a different way, but what are you gonna do, right? It's just that we have more bigger fish to fry. But let's see what Martina's up to. Well, she's broke and wants to get her get back and curse whatever she's done. And see, this will become an actual running gag with Martina, that she would just start developing crushes for not every guy, but you'll see it in a way that you can tell that, you know, doing the bare minimum works, guys.
What's a fiance?
And this is where Slayer's Next does do things episodic with episodes that aren't really plot driven, because you can see something as Martina sees something that the gang is doing, Martina interacts and interferes, and Martina is set back as the gang does whatever they have to do, in which the cycle continues once, in which that this would start in the Say Room part of the arc, with Prince Phil getting assassinated, quote unquote, with everything that's going down with the political drama. We do see Martina and her escapades alongside of it, but that's only inside when it's needed for laughter. Because guess what? Sometimes you need some laughs with some crushing L's. In which I do think that the difference between a lot of other series that try to do this and a series like this is that it's that the character dynamics and the interactions with them are always done in a way that always makes you interested to see it happen once again, because we don't know what is going to be happening next. And plus you have two characters that are pretty petty and ill-tempered, so yeah, it's always going to be fun to see these two interact, because I can see the vice versa happening with Lena wanting to get revenge on Martina. The exact same thing happened, because guess what, who wouldn't want revenge like that? We get to learning that during the adventure of heading back to Seirun, and oh no, Phil, these MFers at Zona are going to hell. Anyways, we do get back into learning about the assassination and learn that Phil's dead! Aw, but it looks like that there's more fish to cook to what really happened. As they investigated it, the person who's been stalking them, the son of a bitch that was Phil. With that, the gang learns what actually happens, and well, it was actually a 40 chess move. Now, we must figure out who was plotting to assassinate him, and with this attempt. So we got a couple of questions for Kenzo and Phil's brother, and Zell gives some light on the history with the rulers of Seirun and the line of assassination and missing case. With info about the case and their lab, we can actually be over with this. It's Alfred, and it gives us some info about the situation and guesses by the circumstances it's Christopher, aka Phil's brother, that wanted to take the keys to the kingdom, but we get to know that the monster that we're hearing in that conversation and going to stop Amelia and Lena go make the kingdom go into chaos. As more or less, the two were introduced early on in that episode. They're the monster, shocker. But the plot twist happens when Lena can't see her. Well, Lena can't use her spells.
This doesn't get you upset, then what the hell does, huh?
But they put the storyline to the side to forward of Phil nearly getting his position taken, as we get to see hijinks, and we get to see the pairing of Lena, Martina, and Zella. Honestly, this is really weird when you think about it. And to look for a cure for Lena's, well, finding Kira, to begrudgingly to get help for her, but a demon looks for Lena, and after the fight we can actually find the Claire Bible. And well, it's bugged because Kira scribbles in it on the final pages, and she stopped talking like this.
I was 3! They make me feel so nostalgic!
Would you please shut the hell up?
You're telling me this brat had the Claire Bible and it's scribbled? Oh my god. But with the gang having troubles, and even Zell not being able to summon, and they signal to Lena that she needs to come back, and with the circumstances of Lena's power sword coming back, they continue to fight with Lena, figuring what's keeping things reinforced. But as things look like that they're getting into the enemy, Lena pulls out one trick that she reads from the last stitch with the Ragnar Blade. Not being able to control it, she still manages to get them back. But Kanto captures Phil. It's not just political chaos, after all, but for Lena. So with things keep delving down to chaos, Christopher abandons the seat of the kingdom for being a tool. But as they talk to Chris, they find that his son, and he admits of being the conspirator. But another twist with the monster betray Alfred. Now you see why I'm getting into depth, as we wouldn't have gotten that. But they give Lena an ultimatum to join or die. We also get to know that their original plans was to take out Lena because of the Demon King, God, and King God. And oh boy, there's more lore to this. In the simplest way to say this, he was a servant of Shepherd though, and he is the master of bots. And he wants revenge for taking out Shepherd. So yeah, Lena may have the credentials of being one of the most badass characters, but she's gonna have one of the biggest enemies here. But as things seems to be over for the kingdom, the ending of Phil, Zell shows up and gives them assurance that they'll be fine and they'll go after them. And honestly, as much as I like seeing action that can be instigated, honestly, I like the fact that they have a horror budget, especially in the first part. It was the circumstances of that time, but it was actually really something that I actually really liked about the first part of Slayer. There's something about that low budgetness, just for me personally, that it really just made me appreciate how things look. And knowing that they didn't have the biggest budget in the world, but what they had was serviceable, well, around that time. And also, damn, Lena putting down Leanery, Trash I See, or would it be Gina? But I can actually really appreciate ENG's work on this part, because there is massive improvements that you see, especially in comparison to the first one. I don't know if it's just me, but I can definitely see a lot of those small things that you would see with artists when they are really comfortable with drawing a character. They start getting them to be more expressive and giving them more personality in a lot of ways that you wouldn't expect. I mean, like, damn, Gowrie. Anyways, let's get back to Slayer. With one of them down and the other to go, Lena regains her magical powers by beating Vegetina, as she pretends that she still doesn't have her powers to get Hanzo off guard. However, since the spell was gone, the air garden above Seirun begins to descend. As there's no time for the people to escape, Lena takes the chance and actually goes for the Dragon Slayer. As this is where we learn of Lord God himself. He's the one that is actually setting all these things into motion to actually take out Lena Infant. And with knowing that they are now destined to look for the Claire Bible, to actually find it to stop. And well, they get their first clue from a man named Dale. Dale tells them that there's a copy with the most magic spell included with it. And it actually takes them to go on to an adventure to actually find it and cast a spell, in which they're actually fighting twin sisters to find the first book. But with going to look for the Bible and getting it, it looks like things are turning out that spell for it requires a party of two, chanting and instructing dance moves. And so pretty much, they've been on a whole wild goose chase for this. And not just that, Lord Goth is coming after their ass. God, this is getting pretty stressful to be back after this. And well, after that whole hijinks, I think as much as I like Lena in the first part, and even throughout the series, Zell actually becomes more and more of my favorite character. In which in the whole part, I'm not going to get into spoilers, but I do really feel like that Zell in Slayer's next becomes a really great character. So the fact that this series is very self-referential towards itself, of breaking the fourth wall and breaking cues, that Zell being the straight man in this actually becomes more and more of a fun thing to understand and look, because when Zell breaks out a character, it actually becomes more of a funnier joke in a lot of sense. Because guess what? When he's the most serious out of all of these characters, yeah, of course we're not going to be expecting that and we're going to be laughing with it. Man, what are we, halfway through this? Okay, so after the treasures, with a banger song and its original language, one of the episodes is In Universe 10, in which Doll's are dressing up as a girl again. You know what? Screw it. I'm actually going to tell you this. If you want a reason to watch next, it's how much Martina and Lena bickered. I was more surprised of how interesting that this would actually become for me to actually see this, because with these two just bickering constantly, Lena can become with Zelos to get on their side. But side quest, honestly, Zell, I feel bad for how you keep getting roped into these shenanigans. But they actually do get word on where the Claire Bible is actually. It happens to be on a mountain that they're near, and so they go and look. It means, yay, we're helping Zell. But the issue is that reading it, like all of it.
Oh, that's a lot of word. Too bad I'm not reading them.
The friendly lady gives them the info that they'll need to travel for the next 3 days to get of what they're seeking, with some Lowry romance relationship talks. Happens during the night about life and how he will protect her, and Auntie helping Lena finding the script. She actually looked and gets transported to the past where the Giga Slave messes up, to an alternative future where the Giga Slave messes up, and I'm not gonna lie, the scene was pretty metal. She gives foreshadows about the battle that, oh shit, Sagrum? And looking to destroy him as Gav, the Demon Dragon King appears, and the boy is going to be tough. And well, now we're in God talk. And to put it into lore talk, Gav is turning against Shepardicto and wants to take out Zelos, and Lena is flabbergasted. And simply, even in the 5 companions of Shepardicto, isn't as powerful as Zell, with things looking to be the end, with Gav and Sagrum summons them, and Martina's here somehow.
Martina?
She's your responsibility, Zelos.
By Saturday morning, villain is here. And well, bringing relief to the pending doom, she stands on summoning in Zamogustar. Well, it actually works. She really made a true god out of Spike. But in real talk, Auntie's actually the Water Dragon King, and illusions, but she tells them to head to the Kalatos Mountains to stop God. Upon their journey, they meet a dragon that happens to be a golden dragon named Melanegis, and it happens that there's history of the monster fallen with Zelos. And let's put it in the simplest ways here. Zelos is a war criminal, and we're gonna get more explanation in Tron. But I digress. As they go up on to their journey, going up to the mountain, they achieve the book. And it looks to who's to join with the two. Anyways, as they achieved in finding it and learning all they needed to know about the information about the monster fall, with being imprisoned by the water dragon after the reborn of Gav's soul merging with the human body, and why it led to the betrayal of the monster. We also learned that Gav got bored about the Giga Slave, but it's Gav again, and it seems that the dragons helping and wanted to destroy them before Auntie Aqua pushes them away. Anyways, we see Amelia throw hands and to a chiropractor, but with the information, Lena learns that she finally hurt Sagrum with the Ragnar with the help of and he just got taken out by Gav. We gotten serious here, folks. Leaving them into the dust, it looks like things are only going to be coming die, as they know Lena needs to recover her strength for the Ragnar Blade. With Amelia healing and now Lena getting the love, the odds, and slowly moving up, well, it's progress. And it's gone. But hey, Lena is back and she's gonna pull the Ragnar Blade with a shot to stop him. What the hell? That boy's smiling. Oh no. As things looks to be the ending of the chapter, the game just happens with the false alarms that it was the boy, and they must defeat him. Yeah, the Hellmaster. And his plan, as he elaborates, is the plan to beat Gav in the world, and so Lena can become weak, and so he can do all of this. In which he takes Gary out and Syra. With being recovered, Lena decides to go on her own, but we know the gang wouldn't let her do it on her own, and say that we need to die. We'll die together. Even Martina's coming along. As before, we see them upon their journey. We see why the Hellmaster wanted to go.
My plan just isn't going to work.
Well, on their own way, we see why with Sylvia. With both of them heading their way, she's coming along, but we consistently keep getting interrupted. And it's actually Gowri being brainwashed. it would only take an ecosystem for things to look like an old enemy and to show up. It's Angular. With a sneak attack with the Ragnar Blade, they learn that earlier in the episode that their journey continues as they go to Cyrag, with them being strange with everything looking the same. And it's not being lazy, but things being restored to a T, even with the marks on the tree. But it turns out that it's actually only a temporary life for these people, with them being in the afterlife, but as we speak. But for Bozo, the Hellmaster is making them suffer with them not being able to truly leave. But given the information, they must go to the center, or to Seafer prison. Now knowing where to go, they have to find a way in. But Lena wanting to go in sneaky, he was going to go alone with going to a heart-to-heart with Sophia. Lena let Sophia tag along, and not because of being caught, but to be free-spirited of their being tormented. But being surrounded by them, they have to have bustled through to enter in. As they enter, people's souls crystallize. But it's nothing more but the time to save Sarah and the world. They plan to fuse the two dragon slaves, amplify the damage, and it does help for one thing, but not all the way. But being petty, the Hellmaster begins the whole party just to let them die in front of them.
Amelia!
I'm okay.
Terrible. So, feel like using the Giga Slave now?
With one of them taking their lives after another, Lena just uses it, lost a holy crash. Lena, in the basic way, has a holy crash out, and oh boy, with them passing on, even Martina.
Martina!
You want to save him, don't you? Gary?
Martina! Martina!
Damn, my Pookie died. I'm actually thinking about joining them now, but putting in the bargaining, saying that you'll have to beat them to come back to life. With Gauri's life essence cracking, Lena finally decides to use the Giga Slip, saying that she chooses Gauri over the world, and it's being trapped along, taking the bullet from the
Pierced by the souls of the dead!
She's controlling it? Yes. Now with the ability that Lena has turned into the Lord of Nightmare. And well-deserved beatdown happens with all the choices he created. And well, he has the breakdown, but the monologue goes out the window, ending him of his existence. Everyone is revived for the most part, with her sacrificing everything to save Gauri and the party. But with Gauri learning about that, he couldn't let things go. As he comes to rescue Lena, Spirit, having a heart-to-heart, admitting that he desires the darkness to be absorbed, and Lena having her body back to herself, leaving with a sweet ending, let everyone go on their separate ways once again. Man, who's cutting onions? As this chapter of their story wraps up, the party reunites with things looking to be back to her. The hothead got to show love that isn't showing weakness. Overall, I thought things were going from the first adventure to this one. It did a phenomenal job of doing what a second season should do in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, the objective for the second season should be to expand and create bigger stakes without making things seem so overly dramatic. And it did the right thing, because as much as this first season was more a comedic run, it did have its serious moments, and it kind of flipped it on the switch of being more serious, but still keeping the things comedic in a lot of times. It more felt like that it found the spot of taking itself serious without throwing jabs, and vice versa. It kept what the original run did and kept me entertained. And we get the conclusion of what happens to my girl Martina. Better take care of her. But with more adventures await, we'll have to see. But before then, let's get something to eat. Victory will be ours. Hey everyone, I hope that you liked this video, and of this being the second part of, you know, at this point I don't even know how many parts this is going to be. I still haven't really decided on how many parts there will be. But I just wanted to say once again, thank you for watching. If you liked the video, I really appreciate if you like, subscribe, and even leaving the notification. I know I haven't really talked about on the notification bell, but you know, it's always there. I don't expect it, but you know, I'll be happy if you did. And also don't forget there's the Patreon and Coffee. If you do want to support me, you get the video a week earlier. It's only just for $1. And plus, knowing how Apple is, and if you have an Apple device, you're only really giving me like 70 cents just to watch it. So that's pocket change, to be real with you. You know, special people for special people here, if they're even there. But I do want to say that I actually really love this part of the whole retrospective that I've done writing. It's probably in the last one I'll probably give my full thoughts on everything, but I will probably say this is probably my favorite season out of everything. But with all that, I'll see y'all when Try comes around. Bye. Okay, looking at my notes, all that I gotta just question myself is this. When I wrote down the notes of timestamp, I need to know why I wrote fishy boobs for episode 20.
How would you like this?
My god, fishy boobs.